An effort to have South Dakota join other states in calling for an Article 5 convention of the states lives on to see another day. SJR 503 initially stalled in a House committee on a tied vote. However, members of the chamber have now forced the resolution onto the floor. This resolution had already passed the Senate. Joining us now is Mark Meckler, CEO of Convention of States. Mark, welcome on air. Let's dive in right now as lawmakers are considering this. The entire House is considering this. What is your message to those lawmakers right now?
Yeah, my message is to be bold and face off against Washington, D.C. Right now, Washington, D.C. is out of control. President Trump is doing the best he possibly can under the circumstances. However, we know for many, many years the government continues to grow. These guys refuse to impose term limits on themselves. They're not balancing the budget. They're spending more than comes in, and their power grows every year. And the legislature today has the ability to put this on the calendar to say no more to Washington, D.C.
I want to go straight to this resolution. It states that in this convention, should it be called, it would propose amendments to the U.S. Constitution to impose fiscal restraints on the federal government, further limit the power and the jurisdiction of the federal government, and limit the terms of office for Congress members and other federal officials. When you look at that cast of items that could come up should this convention be called, what do you think is the most important?
Yeah, I think to me the most important is limiting the power and jurisdiction of the federal government. I think the most popular people would offhand say they want term limits, they want a balanced budget. But the bigger problem is that the federal government does far too much. It's too involved in the lives of South Dakotans. It deals with your environment, it deals with energy policy, it deals with agriculture policy, it deals with education policy. All of those things are much better handled by the people in South Dakota. And those are places where the federal government has gotten well outside the constitutional box.
Interesting to hear your answer there, because when I spoke to former Senator Santorum last week, now we didn't ask him to to necessarily rank these, but he did go straight into spending when we had asked him about his concerns with the federal government.
Yeah, look, I think the spending is critically important, but if you cut the size and scope of the federal government and disallow them from doing a lot of the things they're doing right now they were never intended to do, there will be less places to spend money. Now, I agree with him. Federal budget's completely out of control. We're about to surpass in interest payments our defense budget. That's a very dangerous place for the country to be. I think we're on the precipice of economic disaster, and reining them in financially is critically important.
I know it seems to be a main concern of calling such a convention is that it could lead to drastic runaway amendments that could have serious impacts on the U.S. What do you say to those concerns about calling such a convention?
Yeah, those are false and fabricated, essentially to the level of farce. Anything that came out of convention has to be ratified by 38 states. I've never heard anybody give me an example, literally never in 13 years, of anything that they think would be bad that could be ratified by 38 states. So it just can't happen. It takes 34 states to call the convention. Those states set the parameters for convention. That's a supermajority. It's along the three lines that you described. So the delegates are limited to those three subject matter areas. And then again, ultimately, the safeguard is 38 states have to ratify anything that comes out of convention.
When you think about the delegates that states would send, who do you hope to see if a convention like this was called? Who do you hope to see the states send to such a convention?
Yeah, I mean, in a general sense, I hope the states will send people who represent them well. It's generally going to be up to the legislatures to choose the delegations. The legislatures are setting the parameter for convention, and they have the power to decide who they send. So I think there'll be people who your particular legislator has faith in and trusts. I hope it's people who have a deep understanding of the Constitution, our history, the structure of government, and what our government was originally intended to do or not do at the federal level.
All right, so last week, Santorum was telling us you have 20 states on board. South Dakota could theoretically be 21. What timeline do you think is realistic at this point to get a convention going?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I'd like to see the convention called before Trump leaves office. I think that's plausible with his support. He has, by the way, posted positively about the Convention of States in the past. We've spent some time in the White House. We know they are supportive. With his support, you could see a landslide of the rest of the states necessary.
Okay, well, we will end it there. But Mark, I do appreciate your time and really appreciate your background. I see this dog running around in the back, and I gotta say, I just, I gotta give it a couple. Is that a hunting dog?
We actually have two Great Danes wandering around the office right now, so my apologies for any interruption there.
No, not a problem at all here in South Dakota. Anyways, Mark, we do appreciate your time.
Thank you. God bless. We actually have two Great Danes wandering around the office right now, so my apologies for any interruption there.
No, not a problem at all here in South Dakota. Anyways, Mark, we do appreciate your time.
Thank you. God bless.
All right, thank you.